Hey guys, Tanky here. I'm a year 11 student in the summer of 2021, and in this video I'm going to give you 100 things that you should know before your GCSEs. The advice is not only related to academics and studies, but also relating to your mindset, your mental health, and the relationships that you have between your teachers and your friends. And if you found this video useful, leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Let's jump right into it.
So, what is the purpose of GCSEs?
So tip number one is that GCSEs isn't about just preparing you for the future. A lot of teachers will say that, but in a sense it does, but it's more like you use GCSEs to explore what you like and what you don't like.
Your mindset.
Number two, if you want the grades, then go out there and prepare to receive them. In a sense that if you want good grades, then it's your responsibility to revise in order to get the grades. Number three, your attitudes towards your GCSEs should be more focused on discovering how things in the world function as opposed to just getting the highest grade possible. Number four, you should always have a childlike curiosity about whatever it is that you learn. Number five, do not let what other teachers say or other students say about you define how well you perform, because with a streamlined focus, you can improve and be better than them. Number six, don't compare your intelligence to other students, because you're on your own academic journey. Number seven, you decide what you want for your future, and it is your job to create systems in place that will benefit you in the long run. This doesn't only apply to GCSEs, but any other goal you have in mind, and it doesn't have to be academic.
Your academics.
Number 8 is a common stereotype that students who've achieved all 9s at GCSEs have studied 4 hours a day. And is this true? Not really. You mainly only need to do consistent work. Generally, homework tends to take about 30 minutes to do, and afterwards you can dedicate 1 hour and a half to do your own work. But you must make sure that you do these consistently and not take huge gaps within your revision. Instead of studying 4 hours a day, make sure that you study effectively using all of the time given as opposed to simply just knowing the topic. Number 9, you want to aim to do more active revision such as past paper questions as opposed to passive revision such as rereading the textbook. Number 10, during school lessons, aim to ask the teacher as many questions which stretch your learning, even if the content or the question that you're asking is beyond the curriculum. Number 11, when in class, teach other classmates the topic as well if they don't understand it. This doesn't only benefit them, but also benefits you because you're consolidating your understanding of the topic. Number 12, never leave a lesson not understanding what's going on, because in the near future, all these gaps in your knowledge will accumulate and then you won't be able to pull the strings together and understand what's going on. Number 13, do a whole past paper even if you haven't been taught the entire GCSE curriculum yet, because this will give you an idea of all the new topics to come and for you to learn later on. Number 14, if you're finding a topic difficult to understand, research the same topic online but do it at a high level. So perhaps if you're doing GCSE, instead of doing just the GCSE topic, find out what they learn and teach you at A level. And it sounds counterintuitive, but when you go back to what you were originally on, the original topic will be more clear to you. Number 15, in class, don't just rewrite everything that the teacher says. Make sure that you write it in a way that you understand what it's talking about. Be concise, be clear, and use diagrams. Create simplified diagrams to aid in your learning. Number 17, if you're curious about a specific area of the topic, don't be afraid to ask your teacher about it. In biology in year 9, I asked my teacher why a female horse couldn't mate with a male human, even though they have the correct sex gametes to fuse. Number 18, do active recall techniques to break down what you're learning. Number 19, active recall techniques include the following: blurting, which is where you blat out, write down, scribble down everything you know about the topic from memory, and then afterwards you add in another colour what you didn't know before. Number 20, doing past papers in timed conditions, and then marking it and finding out how you went wrong afterwards and understanding why and where you went wrong, whether it was your knowledge or the application of the exam technique, or maybe you didn't read the question carefully. Number 21, you can also use flashcards to pull out knowledge from your brain. That is how we learn. 22, the best flashcard platform to use is Anki, despite the fact that its user interface is a bit uninviting, because within Anki it already implements a spaced repetition algorithm for you. Number 23, use spaced repetition. 24, spaced repetition is where you space out your learning of the same topic. So you do a past paper on the first day, and you do the same past paper on a fourth day, and then you do that same past paper a week later and then a month later. Tip number 25 is to avoid passive revision. 26, this includes highlighting the textbook. 27, rereading the textbook without any other supplementary purpose, such as doing past papers alongside having a textbook. 28, listening or watching a video without practicing what you just learned afterwards. 29, only taking notes. And 30, especially only taking beautiful calligraphy notes.
The sciences.
31. Enjoy the chemistry experiments and make sure you get involved within the class, because when you look at the memories, you'll remember how funny it was. 32. Past papers and blurting is the best revision method for the sciences. 33. To aid with your understanding of the topic, abstract the large sophisticated ideas into single points that you can memorize and follow off from each other. 34. Go beyond the specification if you're a STEM student, or because you find it interesting. And try to understand some A-level concepts for fun, especially if you find the topic intriguing. 35. Biology is more of a content subject as opposed to a skills subject like chemistry and physics, because they involve more maths. 36. As biology is more of a content subject, you may have to make more notes than in chemistry and in physics. In physics and chemistry, everything mainly stays in your brain, as opposed to chemistry where you often need to create diagrams so you understand what's going on, especially when it comes to understanding bodily functions like homeostasis. 37. For chemistry, to remember all of the qualitative tests, instead of remembering the individual reactions of the chemical to form what compound, whether this forms a precipitate or not, draw out a table and remember the table as opposed to just those individual reactions.
So I use this technique in chemistry for qualitative testing, where there's a lot of different ions that you have to test for. It would have been like a huge task, but instead of remembering each individual reaction, I drew out a table like this so that I can compare what reactions happen with what, and so I just memorize the tables instead of the individual reactions.
38. You can use your textbooks to learn content whilst you're doing a practice paper. This can help you identify which areas that you don't understand what's going on and which areas you do. 39. Use YouTube to find videos explaining what topics you may not understand. 40. It's possible to self-study an entire topic that you did not understand. 41. Read scholarly articles about what you have just learnt in class, because that way you're learning beyond the curriculum and at a high level, especially if you really want to stretch yourself.
Your essays or humanities.
42. English language and English literature is all about sympathizing with the emotions that the writer articulates within the text. And it is your job to elaborate and explain in how they have presented their emotions, what it is that they have said, and how it is they have felt. Your job within the exam is to explain in what ways the writer demonstrates these emotions. And to build on from that point, 43, Tom Hiddleston said,
I suppose it is our primary tool of externalizing the many complex feelings and thoughts we have as human beings. How can we as human beings make ourselves understood when we are so complex and our capacity to feel and think is so profound that the only way you can try to connect to another human being is to be precise about language. And that's as much about what you say as about what you don't say.
44. The more successful essays you read, the better quality of writing you will produce, because you'll catch on to the phrases and techniques that they use to join sentences together. 45. There's no point memorizing subject terminology such as personification, metaphor, iambic pentameter, because it's your job to know how to implement these techniques and predominantly explain what these techniques add and how it articulates the writer's feelings, not just naming the subject terminology. For example, saying this is a metaphor doesn't produce a good essay. 46. Use essay plans and mind maps to explore what questions could come up in the exam. That way, when a question does come up in the exam, you would have made a mind map about it already and know exactly what to write. 47. When you have created essay plans, blurt them out from memory and write down in another pen what you have not remembered. And in doing so, implement a spaced repetition technique. So 1 day, 4 days, or 1 week, and then 1 month. 48. Use YouTube videos from Mr. Sals and Mr. Braff to find strong interpretations about your specific text. 49. Use www.litcharts.com to find interpretations, quotes, context for poetry and as well as your texts such as Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth and Inspector Cool, or whichever text that you're doing for your GCSE. 50. Practice writing essays to nail down your exam technique. 51. Give practice essays to your teacher who will then give you constructive feedback on how to improve your essay. This is helpful because you can improve and understand what you do well and then what you don't do well and the things that you need to improve on. And after that, you can redraft your essay and give a better one.
Your modern foreign languages.
52. Si tu travailles dur, tu peux t'en aller avec une autre langue sous ta ceinture. If you work hard, you can walk away with another language under your belt. When you're young, that's the time to learn languages, and you can leave GCSE with a whole other foreign language on your belt. 53. Anki is the best way to memorize every single new piece of vocabulary that you have learned. Use it little and use it often. 54. Listen to the target language's music. Such as if you're learning Spanish, then listen to Spanish music. If you're learning French, listen to French music. 55. Watch movies that have been produced in that movie's language. 56. If you can't remember the basic verb conjugation, keep practicing and don't give up. It's so rewarding when you speak to others in their own language, because I promise you that after you turn 16, after you're finished learning another language and knowing how to speak it, is so rewarding and enriching. Not to mention that it's a very attractive trait to have. 57. Speak to yourself at home in that language. If you're going to shower, say I'm going to shower in your target language. If you're going to school, say you're going to school in that same target language. Your job is to immerse yourself as much as possible in the modern foreign language. 58. Mimic the filler words in that sentence. In English, our filler words are and but in French, instead of saying is so it's with a French accent. Use the filler words.
Your mental health.
59. Maintaining good mental health is one of the biggest contributors to success. If you take care of yourself mentally, all of your other goals will follow. 60. Avoid overclocking your brain for longer than a period of 3 days at a time. 61. Eat breakfast and pack lunch to provide you with the energy that you need to go about your day. Eating foods like whole grain and oats provide a slow release of energy to keep you energized throughout the day. If you're a biologist, these are called polysaccharides. Saccharide means sugar and poly means many. And since they're really long sugar molecules, it takes your digestive system a longer time to break that down. That's just if you're interested in the technical side of it. 62. Listen to happy, upbeat music as opposed to low and depressing sounds. Upbeat music will make you feel powerful and energized, whilst if you listen to low and depressing music, you're going to feel that way too, and you're going to feel powerless. 63. Regardless of whether you're a man or not, speak to your friends about your mental health and how you're feeling. If you're feeling stressed about exams or a test, likelihood is that your friends are feeling the same way as well. 64. Protect your energy from negative people. 65. Unless you're part of the 1% that don't need sleep to function at all, aim to get a full 8 hours of sleep every single day. 66. Ignore your parents if they try to compare you to someone else's cousin's daughter. Just ignore it and focus on yourself. They're completely irrelevant to your own personal progress. 67. Celebrate your success when you've earned it. 68. Grades do not define your self-worth. 69. For my people who need academic validation, find a way to feel fulfilled outside of school. Maybe it's a new hobby, maybe it's doing sports, maybe it's exercise, maybe it's skateboarding. Find something that you enjoy doing outside of the school system. 70. Reduce your screen time on your phone. Maybe instead of going on your phone or bringing the phone out wherever you go, maybe even to the toilet with you, bring a book instead. 71. Give yourself free time after you've done a certain amount of dedicated work. Do not feel guilty about not doing work or not feeling productive, because you need that time to wind down and to de-stress from the hectic demands of school. So give yourself the privilege to chill, maybe to work out, to exercise, to read a book, and definitely do not feel guilty about it. 72. Don't get involved in petty drama. People will say things about each other. Just ignore it and focus on yourself. 73. Take care of your skin. 74. Drink lots of water. 75. Cry when you need to release a bunch of emotions. It's completely normal and it's a perfectly healthy thing to do. 76. Create realistic expectations of your goals and create systems in how to achieve them. It is the system that achieves the goal, not the written down goal that achieves the goal. Break them down into months, weeks, and days, because you may have a high expectation, and if you fail to meet them, you're going to feel dejected and sad.
Your exams.
77. If you've genuinely prepared and put the utmost in your exam and still feel nervous to do the exam and sit it, you don't feel nervous at all. Instead of it feeling nervous, you feel excited. 78. Before you walk into the exam hall, breathe, put your back straight, tilt your head up high, and walk slowly to your desk where you're going to ace the flipping exam. 80. Bring a bottle of water into the exam and drink it sparingly because you need the time to write as opposed to drink water. 81. Any questions that are a bit too difficult for you to do, or maybe you didn't get it instantly and require a bit more time to do, put an asterisk next to it and return to it at the end of the exam.
Your relationships.
82. During GCSEs, surround yourself by people who are brighter than you at that subject. That will inspire you to do better for yourself. And like they say, you're the average of the 5 closest people that you hang around. So if you hang around those 5 intelligent people, you'll become the 6th intelligent person within that group. Okay, I don't know why I put 5 fingers. The the sixth intelligent person in that group. 83. Be respectful to teachers because they put in a lot of work just for you to succeed. When exam season comes and if you have any questions, you can just go up to them without there being any tension between you two. 84. Avoid spending time with people who ask you for too many favors without giving back to you in return. This will mentally drain you, so it's important to respect your time. 85. During secondary school, don't be too fussed about whether people like you or not. It's important that instead of you wondering whether they like you, what is important is that you become someone that you like. 86. One of the most important things to learn throughout adolescence is how to have a healthy relationship with yourself. Make sure you treat yourself with respect and love. 87. Don't beat yourself up if you didn't get 100% on a test. 88. Don't beat yourself up if you did poorly on a test. There may be other factors at play, and if not, try to figure out what went wrong. Were you just in a bad mood that day, or did you not understand the content of the test? Did you do too much passive revision and not enough active? Probably that's where things went wrong.
Your time management and organization.
89. Use Notion to organize your time and set monthly and weekly and daily goals. 90. Revise the topics that you perform poorly on. There's no point revising what you're already good at, and it's more important to revise the parts that you are worse at. 91. Get a diary or a journal to write down what your goals are and tick them off as you go. 92. Use the Pomodoro technique to time yourself to be as effective in your revision and efficient as possible. Pascal's law says that work expands to fill the time allocated to it. So if you want to complete a task and you set a huge 1 week period to complete it, but in reality it only takes 1 hour to do, you're going to use up that entire week. Instead, use the minimum amount of time required to do it, and that way you'll get it done efficiently. Set those short deadlines as opposed to those longer ones. 73. On weekends, don't lay in and wake up at 11 AM. Instead, stick to the school routine where you wake up at 8 or 9 AM. Maintain it, because otherwise your sleep routine will flow out the window. This especially happens during half terms and holidays.
Your procrastination.
94. To avoid using your phone as a source of procrastination, put it on flight mode and turn it off. It's also important not to charge it overnight, so that even when you do want to use it, you realize that your phone has no battery. 95. Tidy your workspace, change your bed sheets, clean the bathroom or vacuum the house. Do these small tasks so that you can build momentum to have enough energy to do those bigger tasks where maybe you want to do 2 past papers in 1 day. 96. If you feel burned out from doing work, don't feel guilty if you want to take the next 2 weeks more slowly. 97. I've mentioned this before. Instead of carrying your phone around with you, bring a book. Whether the book is related to your studies or not, it's to prevent you from mindlessly scrolling on social media. 98. Set an alarm for how long you want to spend scrolling on your phone, and when the alarm sounds, throw your phone out of the room and stop using it. The sound is the cue for you to get off of social media. 99. Organize your desk space so that it looks inviting to study. Use a damp cloth to wipe down any dusty areas so that you feel clean and motivated. And finally, tip 100. Education is not only a gift, but is also a privilege that we must use and take advantage of. It is a tool that we use to get from a poorer place to a higher place. Some children live in a world where schools are underfunded, and some children live in a world where schools are understaffed, and some children live in areas of the world where schools don't exist at all. My mum grew up in rural China where she didn't have access to education beyond the primary school level. My dad came to this country at the age of 16 where he just began to learn ABCs. For them, education was not a possibility, but for you it is. And I just want you to know that you're so young right now, and you can take your family to wherever it is that you want them to be. You're so young, you have so much potential, and you have an education. So work diligently and make the most of what you have. And that was 100 things that you should know before your GCSEs. I hope you found this video useful and helpful, and if you have any questions, leave a comment down below. This has been Tenki, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.